Well, hello everybody. This is Larry again, and we have a lot to talk about, and we're gonna get right to it. But check out this like really cool Martian right here. I got this from Distortions at a show that I went to visit over the weekend called Mass Fest, and we're gonna talk about that. Look at how cool these pinball machines are, all Halloween themed, of course. Now, I'm gonna talk to you really quickly about my weekend, and we're going to talk about the 10 best haunts to visit if you went to the city. And by the way, I want to know if anybody can tell me what that's from, what movie, and these two masks right here, what movie are they from? Leave a comment below, and then you got to tell me what movie is this from. It's actually a comic, you know, like it was actually a Topps Cards, but what is it called? All three. Leave a comment, and I want to see if anybody can get it right. Okay. Well, before I get into that too, is look at this. I got all these mugs from Target for $5. Now that will sell in your gift store for 10, no problemo. So we don't have a lot of time because I'm using an SD card that doesn't have a lot of room. So we're going to try to make this video quick and fast. So let me tell you what I did last weekend on Saturday. First, we opened the haunted house on Friday the 13th. We did over 2,000 people. It was absolutely packed. We did fantastic. I'm gonna make another video about that because I think that there's probably gonna be a new trend in the haunt industry, and I'm gonna share what we did, but that's a whole nother video. Now, after we closed, I went to bed, we got up, we went to Cincinnati, we left really late. We got to Dent, and we didn't make a video there. We decided to go to Land of Illusion, and we made a video there. And then guess what? We went to sleep. We didn't sleep for very long. Then we went to Horror Hound, and then we went to Mass Fest, which is one of the coolest shows I've ever been to. It was fantastic. And then, so we filmed those. We've already uploaded them. We've already uploaded the Horror Hound, the Dent, and the Mass Fest, which everybody should have gone to the Mass Fest. That was amazing. And then we went to Brimstone Haunt. Then we went to Ohio Renaissance Festival. We made videos of both. And then, if that wasn't enough, we went to USS Nightmare, which was incredible. And then we went to Dent. And then we got done filming at Dent around 2 in the morning. And then we drove home to St. Louis, but we actually came to the Darkness to drop off all the cool stuff that we bought from Mass Fest. And then we went home and tried to go to sleep, but we were so wound up we couldn't sleep for another hour and a half. Now that's called savagery, and we did that because it was fun, but we were also learning things, and we're trying to share them here with you, the haunted house industry. Now, I'm going to make a video here real fast about the 10 best cities you should visit this Halloween. Now, I want to throw out a concept, and I'm going to take the city Chicago as an example. What if all the haunts in Chicago got together, put in a pool, say 10 grand or something, and they went out and bought ads on Facebook and Instagram and covered the whole United States? And you only use one keyword, Universal Studios Horror Nights. And they said, hey, have a better Halloween experience if you come to Chicago, and you sold one ticket, which we could do on Fear Ticket, by the way, and they could buy the best experience that money can buy by going to Chicago and visiting 500 or 600 houses over 2 days. Would that be better than going to Universal Studios? I think so. And there's a lot of cities that could pull this off. But I'm going to name 10 cities that I think if you're going to get in your car or fly somewhere, you should go there. We're going to start naming them right now. But tell me if you like this idea that I came up with. There's so many cities you can do that in. You could do that in Detroit. You could do that in Philadelphia. You could do that all kinds of places. It's called working together, and you just pull your resources and you chase one keyword to try to get people to make an event in Chicago opposed to going to Orlando. Just saying. So here's my list. 10 best places to go and see haunted houses. Number 10, Baton Rouge / New Orleans. Why? Because Baton Rouge has 13th Gate. It's one of the best haunted houses in the country. Plus, they have 13th Gate Escape, which you should book like 4 or 5 of the rooms. You'll have the best experience. Then you could drive a little down the road, go to New Orleans. They have, I want to call it New Orleans Nightmare there. They have a haunted house in an old morgue of some kind, a funeral home. They have beautiful cemeteries, lots of things related to Halloween, witchcraft, not witchcraft, but kind of like, zombie type stuff, voodoo. But it's a great place to go for Halloween for sure. Number 9, Detroit. And I put Detroit on the list because Eloise looks absolutely beautiful when I saw the video on Grim Life. But the other thing about Detroit is there's a lot of really big scream parks, not in Detroit, but on the outskirts. So if you actually did your research, you could find a lot of really cool haunts to visit in Detroit. There's Niles, there's Rebus. I know that Hush is out there. There's a lot of haunted houses, probably 20, 30 of them, probably within 100 miles of Detroit. You definitely could go to Detroit and see a lot of haunted houses in one weekend. Number 7. And I am being fair. I put St. Louis on the list. Why would I put St. Louis on the list? Because, number 1, St. Louis is a great jumping off point. In other words, you could come to St. Louis, and then you could run over to Kansas City, you could run up to Chicago, you could run over to Louisville, you could run over to Cincinnati. None of these cities are that far from St. Louis. But we have 300 houses. We have The Darkness, we have Creepy World, we have Lemp. You can see all of those. There are other Halloween things in St. Louis. We also have a Six Flags that has a Fright Fest. There are a lot of things to go on, but people haven't seen Creepy World, and Creepy World is fantastic. It's a huge scream park, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on Halloween related. So I put St. Louis at number 7, and it really should be much higher because you could come to St. Louis one night, and then you could actually springboard from here up to Chicago, or you could springboard from here to Cincinnati and literally make it a 2-for-1. That's one of the great things about St. Louis. It's so centrally located. You could come here on a Friday, and then you could just drive over to another city, no problem. Number 6 is the town I was just in, Cincinnati. Why? Well, for starters, Kings Island is there. They have a huge Halloween event at Kings Island. But you also have Dent. And I just saw Dent, and Dent is hands down one of the best haunted houses I've ever seen. It's like off the Richter scale. It's so well done. It's so beautiful and so worth it. But I also went and seen USS Nightmare. And really, that place is really freaking cool. And it's so claustrophobic. And it actually looks like it would be a small haunt, but it's not. It's long and it's big. Then I went to a place called Brimstone Haunt, and they're doing some crazy stuff on their hayride where they're literally having these chaser vehicles that chase the hay wagons, where they've made the open exhaust so it really scares people. They had a great layout, and Land of Illusions probably has one of the best setups. I mean, they have a bar, they have restaurants, they have a donut shop, they have several haunts. Cincinnati would definitely be on my list of best cities to go see a bunch of haunts. What's next? What's next? Number 5, Chicago. Because you have 13th floor there, but you have Hell's Gate. Hell's Gate is hands down one of the best haunted houses in the United States. It's not even close. They're like literally one of the 10 best. No matter what list you were making, they would have to be on the top 10. But you have so many good haunts up there. You have Massacre, which I just went and visited. I would put them as one of the 10 to 20 best haunted houses that I've seen. Massacre, plus he's got amazing escape rooms. You have Realm of Terror. You have so many haunts up there. I mean, it's ridiculous how many there are. And then there's another 2 more in Joliet area. I mean, you have so many haunts in Chicago. They're all really good. And I mean, I can't sit here and name them all because this video is saying I only have 8 minutes to talk about them all. But Chicago would definitely be a place where you could visit 4 to 5 haunted houses And then of course they have a Six Flags with Fright Fest if you're into that. Okay, number 4, Orlando. Why? Because Universal Studios Horror Nights is there. But SeaWorld is also doing a Halloween event now, and Tampa Busch Gardens does a big event too. They're in Tampa. So you literally could knock out all 3 of these events over a 2-day period. Universal would take up a whole day. So you probably couldn't do all 3, but maybe you could if you went Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You could do SeaWorld, which is probably not the best one, but I would definitely recommend Tampa and Universal Studios Horror Nights. Number 3, Los Angeles. I wouldn't have put Los Angeles anywhere on my list at all, but it's really blossomed over the last few years. You have Six Flags, Fright Fest, which I guarantee you they spend more money on the Los Angeles one than they do probably any other. And that's because they're competitors. You have LA Haunted Hayride. You have an independent haunted house from my friend Bruce down there in a mall that's really great. You have Knott's Berry Farm, which is probably one of the biggest theme parks that do haunts. Plus you have Universal Studios, and I don't know of all the other ins and outs, little in all the other attractions, but I'm sure there's some. But that's more than enough for anybody to get their scare on over a weekend. Number 2 is Philadelphia. Now, one of the best haunts I've ever seen is Field of Screams. It's not in Philadelphia, but it's not far away. So I would definitely start there. But then, there's so many. And people are going to get mad at me because I'm not going to be able to name them all. But there's so many great haunted houses in Philadelphia. They're all over the place down there. You have Penthurst is one. But you have Field of Screams. Field of Screams is worth going to see alone. And then you're going to see Penthurst. And then I'm trying to remember the one that's a hayride down there, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but they say it's one of the best hayrides. But there's just so many haunts in Philadelphia. You just do the research, you map out your plan, and Philadelphia would definitely be number 2. Now, you also know it's number 2 because when they did the Eastern State Haunt Convention, which was in Philadelphia, it was jam-packed. That's because there's so many haunts out in the area. And it's not just about Philadelphia, it's like the radius around it. And then the other thing is about Philadelphia is it's also close to Baltimore. It's close to New York City. It's close to so many things. You'll definitely find haunts to go see. Now, what could be number 1? My number 1 place, if you were going to buy a plane ticket and spend the weekend and skip going to Universal Studios Horror Nights, what would be number 1? It would be Salem, Massachusetts. Now, why? Because number 1, Salem, Massachusetts, it's fun just to walk around the town. It's all about Halloween. They made Hubie Halloween there. They also filmed a lot of, what's that movie? I hate it. With the 3 witches, the Disney movie. It's like Hocus Pocus. So I would definitely go to Salem, number 1, because one of my favorite attractions that I've seen up there is John Denley's International Monster Museum. That was amazing. But you also have Fright Kingdom. You have a lot of haunts up there, but you have Haunted Overload. You have Haunted Overload. That's worth seeing alone. So when you pile all that together, you have literally the ultimate Halloween experience. And you got to remember too, Salem is really close to Boston. It's not that far from Philadelphia. So you could jump from there to another city, but you could literally spend several days in Salem, Massachusetts, soaking up Halloween. I would highly recommend it. Now, there is one city, I forgot a number, and I'm going to tell you because there's only 4 minutes left on this SD card. I skipped over number 6. Number 6 would have been Salt Lake City. That's because they have 2 really good haunts there. You have the Salt Lake City Fright Factory. I think that's what it's called. And that one looks insane. It's at a concrete factory, and they got zip lines and crazy stuff going on. And then Nightmare on 13th looks like a really incredible haunted house. The only reason I wouldn't rank it a little higher is because it's really isolated. The only city you could jump from there to somewhere else would be like Denver. And then that's the thing about Salt Lake City and Denver. They're kind of isolated. So you're not going to be able to go there and then drive somewhere else. But those would be my top 10. So just to review, number 10 would be Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Number 9, Detroit. Number 8 is Salt Lake City. Number 7 is St. Louis. Number 6 is Cincinnati. Number 5 is Cincinnati. Number 4 is Orlando. Number 3 is Los Angeles. Number 2 is Philadelphia. And number 1 is Salem, Massachusetts. And you can take my word for it. You've got big haunts up near and all around the Salem, Massachusetts area. It's not just the ones I've named. There's many others. But Salem alone is worth a whole day. Haunted Overload, Fright Kingdom, and just a zillion other ones all over the place. So think about this idea that I've thrown out there of haunts teaming together and promoting their area as a destination in the same way that Universal Studios Horror Nights has done. Imagine Cincinnati doing that. I think it would literally make them a lot of money to do that, or Chicago and many other cities. Something to think about. Make sure you like and subscribe to our page and check out all the videos that are coming from my trip to Cincinnati. And if you want me to come to your city, I'll be more than happy to. Reach out to me, let me know. I don't want to come to a city to film one haunt. I want to come out there and be a savage like I was in Cincinnati, where we filmed 7 attractions in one 24-hour period. All right? So right here from the darkness, hopefully you found this video educational. Hopefully you found it entertaining. And look at that suggestion to get those mugs from Target. Go out there and get them. And we're going to have a Target video coming here real soon about all their retail. Till then, guys, happy haunting.